the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
We'll go now to Amanda in Phoenix. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So a little background on my question. My husband's side of the family is Jewish. They're not very religious, but one thing they do celebrate is Hanukkah. They kind of get together more like a Jewish Christmas than like the 8-day sort of celebration. But we are expecting our first child. And so some questions about will she celebrate? Will we celebrate with them? And my question is really, is it kind of theologically appropriate to do that? It's not really coming from my husband. It's more his side of the family, the extended family. They kind of see it as harmless. My instinct is that it's not, but I wanted a gut check and kind of your thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, well, for what they're worth, and these are just my personal thoughts, we do know that the church forbids Catholics from participating in non-Christian religious ceremonies that are acts of worship or something like that. And Hanukkah is not that. By way of background, Hanukkah is a commemoration of a miracle that God worked in the temple that had been destroyed during the time of the Maccabees. And this, the result of the Maccabean revolt is why this took place. They recovered the destroyed temple, or the largely destroyed temple, and they wanted to light the lamp in the sanctuary, but they couldn't, the menorah. They thought they couldn't because there was virtually no oil left. So they lit the menorah, and miraculously it stayed lit for those 8 days. That's why they call Hanukkah the Festival of Lights. So it is a curious thing that this doesn't appear in the expurgated Protestant Bibles because they have eliminated the deuterocanonical books. They call them the apocryphal books, but it's right there in the Catholic Bible in 1st and 2nd Maccabees. So to the extent that you're celebrating a miracle that God performed for his people by doing this, I think it's entirely benign. I mean, I don't see anything contrary to that, the way you might celebrate, it's just some other aspect of salvation history. Where it becomes a little bit tricky is because we don't want to Judaize, and what I mean by that is what St. Paul referred to in Galatians, for example, where he talks about how we no longer are bound by those ceremonial laws, the 613 ceremonial laws, the mitzvot, as it's called in Hebrew. We're no longer bound by those things, kosher food laws and certain feast days and things like that, certainly not circumcision. So the line here, if you ask me, is we would never want to do anything that would entail a practice of Judaism as a religion, because it has been fulfilled and completed and perfected in Jesus Christ in the new covenant. But if you're joining with your family members to remember and celebrate the miracle that God worked, that's right there in our Catholic Bible, I don't personally see any harm in that. I think that that's at least a benign celebration of something. It's not an official celebration that the Catholic Church herself does, but I don't see it as something problematic. So you asked for my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion with a bit of background thrown in. What do you think, Amanda?
I think that's really helpful. I think it's hard to navigate and know kind of the official reason, and I appreciate your perspective, so I'm not being, overly defensive in an area where, we're okay to celebrate that miracle. So I appreciate it.
I'm glad. And I recognize there are some maybe more rigorous Catholics who might disagree with me and say, no, you shouldn't have anything to do with it. But based upon the scriptural issue and what it means and what you would be doing, I just don't see any problem as far as Catholics, not Judaizing. This entire episode of the Patrick Madrid Show is on the Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers. Don't delay. Download the app today. And thanks for listening.